Hey out there, legal warriors. Shoplifting. That's a serious charge in Washington State. Is there a way to get your shoplifting charge dismissed? Someone you know has that problem? If you're interested in this area of the law, stay tuned because this is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 20 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people will get the help they need. Now, just jumping right into it. What is shoplifting? What type of crime is that in Washington State? Well, it depends on what the value of the property is that was taken. So shoplifting is just a way to say theft, right? The most common type of shoplifting is not paying for, goods of $750 or less, and that's called theft in the third degree, and that's a gross misdemeanor. So most people watching this video, if you've been charged with shoplifting, that's the charge you're facing. There could also be theft in the second degree, which is a felony, and theft in the first degree, which is a felony, and that's just increasing values of property not paid for, typically from a store. So if you get stopped for shoplifting, you may be giving a ticket that told you to go straight to court the next day. You may get arrested, or you may not get anything, and you may wonder if you're out of the woods. So if you don't get anything, you're probably not out of the woods. You're probably going to get a complaint in the mail to come to court. And so you're going to want to talk to an attorney to find out, about what's likely. But this video is about how we can try to get a shoplifting charge dismissed so it doesn't ruin your life, right? Because a theft conviction on someone's record is a pretty big no-no for employers, right? Even though you may not be a dishonest person, you may just be have been depressed or having a hard time, you may not even know why you did it. People can be judgmental, so it's important that we try to not let a theft conviction happen. So you go to court, you get yourself an attorney. Now, how does the attorney possibly get a shoplifting case dismissed? Well, I think there's, three main ways to do that. And the most common and likely to be successful way is through a statute called compromise of a misdemeanor, RCW 10.22.010. I've got at least one video on this network here. This is my YouTube channel about compromise of misdemeanor. But basically that statute says that if a shopkeeper has a civil cause of action, shopkeeper in this case, against the shoplifter, if the shoplifter pays the damages to that shopkeeper and gets some proof of it, right, then the attorney can try to move to dismiss the case. And so the statute's broader than that. It covers other types of crimes besides shoplifting, but it can be used in a shoplifting case. So let's use a Fred Meyer case, for example, or Nordstrom, right? If we're caught taking property from there, we're likely going to be given a civil demand. Hey, we can sue you as the store for enforcement costs under a Washington law. I call it the shopkeeper statute. That's not officially what it's called. But usually they'll ask for so much money plus the amount of the property taken. So if you took $150, maybe they want $450 or $650. But if you have a civil demand, it's important that you hang on to that demand and try to deal with it with your attorney, because if you just pay them that money right at the store, then there's no incentive to give you some paperwork you might need to try to get your case dismissed through a compromise of misdemeanor in the court. So the way we can try to help get that dismissed is you get that paper with the demand, you get your attorney the money that is owed, then your attorney will send that money to whoever does the collections for the store in question. It might be a law firm, it might be internally, and then usually the attorney will also send a document to try to get them to sign that says that they've been civilly satisfied for their damages. Now that does not make your criminal case go away, and it's going to say in the paperwork, paying this does not make your criminal case go away, but there's a statute that says that your attorney can file a motion to dismiss your case if we've got that piece of paper that says the victim has been civilly satisfied for their damages. Okay, and so that really clearly applies in a shoplifting case, because this other statute says there's an amount of damages they're entitled to, right? Even if they got the property back. So a way to get it dismissed, hopefully, is you get that civil demand paid, that the lawyer is fortunate enough to get the right type of documents back from the store, and then your record isn't bad enough In other words, your record's pretty clean, and therefore the court says, okay, I'm going to give you the benefit of the statute and dismiss your case. And if the case is dismissed, that means you've got no convictions of it. And if you weren't fingerprinted and arrested, it may not be on your official criminal history at all, right? It may show up in other private background check companies because they collect data to sell. They're not going to delete their data. But if you get it dismissed through a compromise, that means that you've got no conviction record on that particular charge, and that's really what we want. So that's one way, and probably the most common way, to try to get a shoplifting charge dismissed. I think the second way is to negotiate with the prosecutor, right? Let's say you can't get a compromise. You're in a certain court that doesn't allow compromises just because how the judge or the prosecutor feels about it. Well, perhaps your attorney can negotiate with the prosecutor based upon your lack of history, based upon, you've got an immigration status where this is, bad things are going to happen, based upon the fact that you were depressed or some other reasons why this happened and why this was out of character. And maybe we also have you do some affirmative things, right, to help you in the case. You might be able to do a theft awareness class. You might be able to do some community service, or you might be able to do some counseling. Because, I didn't know this when I started as a defense attorney, that a lot of shoplifting cases are not based upon need, are not based upon being evil. It's based upon a depression or an anxiety or some way to release that type of feeling. And it's not necessarily even conscious of it, right? So many people don't even know why they took something. And it's not an excuse. We shouldn't take things. But it also can explain that we're not some terrible person because we didn't pay for whatever it is we took. It's almost like a cry for help, okay? And if sometimes that's a sign that maybe we need some counseling to address the underlying cause, because many good prosecutors will consider the steps that you take after the fact in deciding what should happen to you, because any experienced prosecutor knows that theft conviction will have a dramatic effect on your future employment, future apartments, stuff like that. So it doesn't mean you should give up hope if you're facing a situation. Don't listen to those words and go, oh no. Listen to those words and say, I should be careful, and try to do everything I can to try to get the best result in this particular case. So I think the third way out, and stepping back real quick, how would a prosecutor let you go? Well, they could just dismiss the case outright, or they could give you something called a stipulated order of continuance. Okay, that's an agreement. If you stay out of trouble and do some things, and then they'll dismiss the case. And we've got a video on our channel about what those are, stipulated order of continuance. They're not available in every court, but the prosecutor has a way to offer some things to make your case go away if it's negotiated in a way where that makes sense to the prosecutor. Okay. So let's say that the prosecutor doesn't agree. What's a third way to make the case go away? I mean, without just being innocent, right? Well, the third way could be deferred prosecution. And it's, I don't think I've ever used it for a theft case, but you could, a mental health deferred prosecution, because again, it's my opinion, unless it's drug-seeking behavior, stuff like that. Most shoplifts are not because I'm going to go try to buy a boat or something and sell some jeans and make a lot of money. No, it's usually some mental health stuff going on, right? And there is a statute that can allow for mental health treatment in lieu of prosecution. And so it's usually used for other types of cases, the mental health part of a deferred prosecution. You may have heard of a deferred prosecution for DUIs, that's alcohol-based. But I think if you have a particularly bad record of theft and we can show that a mental health issue is what's causing the behavior, and we can show that there's treatment that would help you, we may be able to put you into a mental health deferred prosecution to try to get that case dismissed. So there's lots of ways we could try to get a theft charge dismissed. What don't we want to do? We don't want to just go in and plead guilty to it, right? Again, because it's going to have a major effect. If we can't get a case dismissed outright, maybe you can get a deferred sentence. A deferred sentence means that you're found guilty for a period of time, but if you stay out of trouble, then it goes away. Again, that's not as favorable as doing a compromise, a misdemeanor. It's not as favorable as the prosecutor moving to dismiss or getting an SOC. And it's also not as favorable as doing a mental health deferred prosecution, because in all of those cases, you're never suffering a conviction to begin with. So if you've got the situation, don't give up hope. Please don't give up hope, and don't think there's something wrong with you because you're charged with a crime. It's simply not so. So if you found this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people will get to see it. And even more importantly, if you have a charge, if you don't know what to do, if you need some help, feel free to give my office a call. We've been doing this more than 20 years. Again, I'm Lance Fryrear. We will listen to what happened. We'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.